I used to think my life was perfect. My career was taking off, my home was warm, and I believed my marriage was solid. But lately, something felt off. "Hey, you look stressed," Mia said, sliding into the booth across from me at our favorite cafe. She pushed a steaming latte toward me. "I'm fine," I muttered, not meeting her eyes. "You're not fine. You haven't been fine for weeks. What's going on?" I sighed, running a hand through my hair. It's Mark. He's been distant. Forgetting dinner plans, working late, mysterious texts." Mia leaned in. "Mysterious texts? Come on, you know I hate secrets. Are you saying he's cheating?" "No. I mean, I don't know." My stomach twisted. "He hasn't said anything outright. But every time I ask, he smiles and brushes it off." "He's different," Mia frowned. "Different how?" "Cold. Detached. Like he's somewhere else entirely." I stared into my latte, watching the steam curl. "And he's always on the phone at night. Calls I'm not supposed to see. Messages he deletes. I can't shake it." Mia reached across and grabbed my hand. "Listen to me. Trust your gut. You're not imagining this. If he's acting shady, he probably is. You deserve to know the truth before it eats you alive." I wanted to believe her, but a small voice inside me whispered, "Maybe I'm overreacting. I don't want to ruin everything. Our life, it's been good. He's never done this before. Good? Maybe on the surface. But secrets, distance? That's never good. You have to face it, even if it hurts." That night, I tried to brush it off. I poured myself a glass of wine, hoping to calm my racing thoughts. I told myself I was being paranoid. But then my phone buzzed. "Mark, at 11:47 p.m., I'll be back later." Don't wait up, that was it. No explanation, no reassurance, just those 4 words. I stared at the screen, heart hammering. "Back later? Where the hell are you?" I whispered to the empty living room. I called him, but it went straight to voicemail. I sent messages, ignored. Panic bubbled in my chest. Every memory of the morning smile, the casual kiss, the lazy Sunday breakfasts, they all twisted into doubt. By midnight, I was pacing. My mind refused to settle. I opened the drawer where he kept his phone charger, hesitating. I shouldn't, but the urge was too strong. I grabbed it, thinking maybe he forgot it at home. Nothing. The next morning, I woke to silence. No coffee brewing, no clatter from the kitchen, just my own nervous breathing and the growing pit in my stomach. And then my phone buzzed again. "We need to talk. Alone. Tonight. Don't try to find me before then." I read the message over and over, my hands trembling. Alone? Why alone? My chest tightened. Every instinct screamed something was wrong. I called Mia immediately. "Mia, he's gone. I don't know where he is and he won't answer." And this message? My voice cracked. "Breathe. Listen to me, okay? Don't panic yet. But I'll come over. We'll figure this out. You're not alone in this." Even as she said it, I felt a cold shadow creep over my perfect life. The certainty I had carried for years, the trust, the warmth, the stability, it felt like it was dissolving in front of me. And for the first time, I realized nothing would ever be the same again. I sat on the couch, staring at my phone, imagining every worst-case scenario. My hands shook. The life I had built, the life I thought I knew, had vanished overnight. And all I had was Mia, my best friend, and the cryptic words from someone I thought I could trust completely. I didn't sleep that night. I couldn't. I just stared at the ceiling, whispering to myself, "Where are you, Mark? What have you done?" I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, Mark's face blended with Sarah's. Sarah, my cousin, my friend, the person I'd confided in countless times. The thought made my stomach twist. "Mia," I said, pacing the living room, phone clutched tight. I think it's Sarah. He's seeing Sarah." Mia froze. "Wait, what? Your cousin?" "No, not exactly cousin," I corrected, my voice shaky. "She's a close family friend, someone I trusted, someone I told everything to." And now I think they've been, my voice cracked, together. Mia's eyes widened. Are you sure? Maybe it's not what you think. I shook my head, bitter laughter escaping. I wish it wasn't true. I wish I was imagining it. But I've been noticing things. Messages he deletes, times she's suddenly busy when I come around. And last night, she was at the cafe when I went looking for him. Mia pressed her hand to my shoulder. Okay, slow down. Step by step. What do you want to do? I don't know, I admitted. I want to confront them. But at the same time, I'm terrified. Terrified of seeing it, hearing it, knowing it for sure. Mia frowned. Then don't confront them yet. Observe. Collect proof. If it's true, you'll want undeniable evidence before you do anything. You can't just yell and cry. That'll be the end of it. Her words gave me a strange sense of control. Okay, I'll watch. I'll know. That afternoon, I drove past Mark's office, pretending to run errands. My stomach pounded when I saw Sarah's car parked outside. My chest tightened like a vice. I could see him through the tinted window, talking, laughing, too casually. Laughing at a joke? Maybe hers, maybe something private they shared. I wanted to scream, to throw the car door open and demand answers. But I didn't. I took pictures instead, shaking. Every click of the camera felt like a betrayal by my own hands. Later, Mia came over. I spread the photos on the table. See, I told you. I knew it. Look at them, laughing so close. It's not just friendship. Mia's jaw tightened. I'm so sorry. God, that's cruel. I leaned back, staring at the ceiling. It feels like a knife in my chest. Like every memory of him, of us, is a lie. I trusted him. I trusted her. And now, my voice trembled. Now I don't even know if I knew them at all. Mia grabbed my hand again. You did know them. But people change. Sometimes they show their true colors in ways we can't ignore. You've got to stay strong. This is not the end. You're just facing reality. Reality felt like ice running through my veins. I felt dizzy, hollowed out. I can't just let it go. I need to know everything. I need to understand why, and then I'll decide what comes next. Mia nodded slowly. Good, but promise me, you won't rush in blindly. No confrontations yet. Let the truth reveal itself fully, piece by piece. You'll have your power when the time comes. I stared at her, grateful and terrified all at once. I will. I promise, I don't know how to cope until then. Seeing them, even from afar, it feels like poison. You cope by staying smart, Mia said firmly. By being patient. By keeping your dignity. Revenge or confrontation too soon will only hurt you more. I clenched my fists, feeling a surge of anger, betrayal, and determination. Patience, I muttered. I can do that. I'll watch. I'll know everything before I make a move. Days blurred into nights as I secretly tracked their movements. Each time I saw them together, laughing, whispering, sharing something intimate, it was as if someone was driving a blade straight through my heart. Every glance, every touch they didn't hide from each other felt like confirmation. The betrayal wasn't subtle anymore. It was screaming at me, impossible to ignore. One evening, I watched them leave a restaurant together. They didn't notice me. Mark held her hand. Just like that, the world seemed to shatter. I couldn't breathe. I sank against the parked car, hands over my face. How could you do this? I whispered into the empty street, the night swallowing my pain. Mia called, and I answered shakily. It's real, I said. It's happening. They're together. Every moment I see, I know, she said softly. I know, and I'll be there. We'll figure out the next step. You're not alone in this, ever. Her voice was the only anchor I had left. And yet as I hung up, I realized nothing could undo what I'd seen. Nothing could erase the betrayal. My life, my perfect, safe life, was gone. And now I had to decide whether to crumble or fight. I can't sleep. Every time I close my eyes, Mark's laugh echoes in my head, mingling with Sarah's. I see their smiles, the casual touches, the way he used to look at me, now replaced by her. My chest feels tight, my stomach churns, and no matter how hard I try, the memories don't stop. Mia. I whispered into the phone at 2 a.m., my voice hoarse. I can't do this. I can't stop thinking about them. About him. About us. Shh, breathe, Mia said gently. I know it hurts. I know it feels like the world is ending, but it's not. You're not alone, okay? I'm right here. I hugged the pillow, curling up on the couch. I trusted him. I trusted her. Every word, every promise, it's all lies. How do you move on when your whole life feels like it's been a lie? You start by standing up, Mia said firmly. Not tomorrow. Not when you feel ready. Now, you take control. You don't let them destroy you. You're stronger than you think. Her words felt like a lifeline, a small tether to reality. I sniffled. I don't feel strong. I feel hollow. Like a part of me is gone, ripped out by their betrayal. You feel that way because you care. Because you loved honestly. That's not weakness. That's your power. Use it. I rubbed my eyes, tears blurring my vision. Power. I don't know where to find it. I just keep replaying everything. Every dinner, every conversation, every joke. Did I miss the signs? Was I blind? You didn't miss anything. People lie. They hide who they really are. You can't blame yourself for their choices, Mia said softly. I sank deeper into the couch cushions, feeling the weight of despair. It feels like I'm falling and no one is catching me. Like I'm invisible in my own life? You're not invisible, Mia said, almost sharply. You're human. And right now you're hurting. But hurting isn't losing. You can turn this around. Her voice shook something awake in me. I wiped my tears and nodded, though she couldn't see it. Okay, but how do I even start? Start small, she said. Take control in the ways you can. Your life isn't over. You can get advice. You can plan. You can protect yourself. You don't have to act on anger yet. Just be smart. I hesitated, then made a decision. The next morning, I secretly scheduled a consultation with a lawyer. Sitting in the sterile office, I told myself this wasn't about revenge yet. It was about preparation, about planting seeds to protect myself. The lawyer asked questions, and I answered carefully, my hands trembling slightly. Mia had told me to keep calm, to stay composed, and I listened. It felt empowering in a quiet, almost terrifying way. Even a small step felt monumental. Afterward, I walked back to my apartment, my mind racing. Every step, every breath, I felt the betrayal like a raw wound. But beneath it, a spark flickered, small, fragile, but there. A sense that I wasn't completely powerless. Mia called again that night. How did it go? She asked. I hesitated, then let out a shaky laugh. Better than I thought. I met with a lawyer, just to know my options, nothing more. But it felt good. Like I'm finally doing something, not just sitting here being destroyed. That's my friend, Mia said warmly. Step by step. You're reclaiming yourself, even in the smallest ways. Don't underestimate that. This is your life. You get to decide what comes next. I leaned back against the couch, staring at the ceiling. Her words replayed in my head. You get to decide. For the first time in days, I allowed myself a moment of hope. I whispered to myself, almost in disbelief. I will get through this. I will. I won't let them break me. Not completely. And though the emptiness still gnawed at me, I felt a small, dangerous thrill, a sense that eventually I could turn this pain into power. I walked into the living room, forcing a smile that felt more like a mask than an expression. Mark was already there, chatting with my aunt and cousins as if nothing had happened. Hey, I said lightly, keeping my tone casual. Hey, he replied, a faint smirk tugging at his lips. You look relaxed. I raised an eyebrow. Relaxed? Sure, I'll take that. Inside, I was anything but. My stomach churned, but my face stayed calm. He thinks I'm broken. Let him think that. Let him enjoy it. I'll enjoy it more later. Look who's here, Aunt Lorraine exclaimed, pulling me into a hug. I'm so glad you made it. Wouldn't miss it, I said, nodding, keeping the conversation light. Mark leaned in slightly, his whisper just loud enough for me to hear. See, everyone still likes you. Don't look so tense, I smiled faintly. I'm fine, really, he chuckled. Good, that's good. I worried you'd hold a grudge forever. He thinks I'm soft, that I've forgiven him. Perfect. I kept my voice gentle. It's been a learning process, that's all. Throughout the evening, I made small adjustments, listening more than I spoke. Mark tried to dominate every conversation, boasting about work, about himself. Every boast, every careless laugh, every flirtatious glance toward Sarah. If she was here tonight, I didn't see her, but the arrogance was enough. I caught my cousin, Lauren, looking at Mark with something like concern. I leaned closer. You've noticed how he acts sometimes? I whispered, careful not to be overheard. Lauren hesitated. Well, yes. I didn't want to say anything, but he can be difficult, especially with certain people. I nodded slowly. I'm glad you understand. It's a lot to handle. The thrill of subtle manipulation ran through me. I wasn't shouting accusations, wasn't begging anyone to see the truth. I was letting them see it themselves, quietly, piece by piece. This is going to be beautiful. Mark, oblivious, kept laughing with my uncle's colleagues who had dropped by. And then I told them, if you think that's bad, wait until you see the client's reaction. His arrogance made my skin crawl. I leaned toward a colleague I'd known for years. He really thinks he's untouchable, doesn't he? The colleague laughed a little nervously. Yeah, sometimes he gets carried away. You handle it well, staying calm. I smiled, sweet and harmless. Thank you, it's important to keep peace, you know. Mark caught my words and looked at me, eyebrows raised. See, she's over me already. I knew you'd come around. You always do. If only he knew, I thought, sipping my drink. You've overplayed your hand. You've underestimated me completely. I excused myself at one point and slipped into the kitchen, calling Mia. It's happening. Everyone's talking around him. He's cocky, but the cracks are showing. People are noticing. Mia's voice came softly through the phone. Good. Keep calm. Keep smiling. Let him crumble without realizing you're watching. I can feel it, I said, leaning against the counter. It's like I'm finally in control, even if no one knows it yet. Just by watching, just by staying. Composed. By the end of the night, Mark had exhausted himself with charm and boasts. He left the room for a moment, and I overheard two relatives whispering. Do you think he's always been like this? One asked. Yeah, another replied. She's handling it well. But he's different, isn't he? I felt a rush of satisfaction. I didn't say a word. My mask stayed in place, calm, neutral, approachable. Soon enough, they'll see everything. And I'll be ready, Mark returned, oblivious, smiling triumphantly. See? Everything's perfect. You forgive me, everyone forgives me. Life goes on. I matched his smile, even pitched a laugh at one of his jokes. Inside, I counted every tiny moment, every misplaced word, every subtle glance that could become evidence. My plan was slow, quiet, and it thrilled me. As the gathering wound down, I whispered to myself, this is just the beginning. They don't know what's coming, but I do, and for the first time in weeks, I felt powerful. I stared at the screen, my hands trembling. Numbers blurred before me, but the truth hit me like a freight train. Our joint account empty. Every penny I thought was ours gone. I slammed the laptop shut. No, this can't be real. Mia's voice came over the phone. What is it? Did you find something? I swallowed hard, trying to calm the shaking in my chest. He's drained the account. Every last cent. And not just that. He's signed loans in my name, spent money on. I don't even know what. He's been using me, using us like I was nothing. Mia was silent for a moment. I'm so sorry. That's criminal. You can't let him get away with this. I know. I can't just cry about it anymore, I said, my voice tightening. I need a plan. I need help. Then get help, she urged. Talk to a lawyer. Protect yourself. The next morning, I found myself sitting across from a lawyer named Daniel. I had explained everything in a rapid, trembling voice. The betrayal, the affair, now the financial theft. He nodded, scribbling notes. So, Daniel said finally, looking up, we have grounds for immediate action. Fraud, misuse of funds, identity theft. You're not powerless. You have options, and we'll take them step by step. I swallowed, feeling both relief and a flicker of fury. Step by step, right. What's first? First, we secure your accounts and assets. Freeze any financial activity in your name. Then we investigate everything. Loans, credit lines, anything he could use to harm you further. You'll have full control again, legally. Without confronting him directly, I nodded slowly, a strange thrill running through me. Finally, action, not helplessness. Do you need me to handle communications? Daniel asked. Yes, please. I don't want him to know I'm onto him yet. Not until the right moment. Once I left Daniel's office, I called Mia. It's happening, I said, a mixture of disbelief and excitement in my voice. I'm taking back control. Legally, strategically. Not screaming, not crying. Just quietly taking my power back. That's good, Mia said warmly. That's exactly what I hoped you'd do. Stay calm, stay smart. Let him think he's still winning while you rebuild your strength. The next few days blurred. I met with an accountant, Luis, who helped me trace every fraudulent transaction. Each discovery was a punch, a sting, but also fuel. He siphoned off our savings to— What? I muttered, flipping through the spreadsheets. Luis shook his head. It's staggering. But don't worry. Everything is documented. Every transaction is proof. If you want, we can build a full case. I want everything, I said firmly. No loopholes, no excuses. He needs to see consequences. Understood, Luis said, impressed by my resolve. You're taking this seriously. For the first time in weeks, I felt the panic loosen. My chest wasn't a knot of fear anymore. It was a hammer of determination. Every detail I uncovered was a step toward balance, toward justice, toward revenge, if it came to that. Mia stopped by one evening. I spread the documents on the table. Look at this, I said. Every hidden account, every loan, every misuse. I've got it all mapped. He thinks I'm still weak, still broken. He has no idea what I'm capable of. Mia's eyes widened. Wow, you've really turned this around. I'm proud of you. And careful. Don't let the anger blind you. Use it as fuel, but keep your strategy sharp. I smiled faintly, cold and satisfied. I will. I've realized something. Anger alone won't win. Planning, control, patience. That's what wins. And I'm not letting him touch me anymore. Not emotionally, not financially, not socially. Everything he tried to steal from me, I'm taking back. Mia reached across and squeezed my hand. And you will. You've already started. The first moves are yours. That night, I sat alone, going over every detail I'd gathered. My mind raced with possibilities. Every document, every phone record, every transaction became a tool in my hands. I wasn't crying anymore. I wasn't pleading. I was calculating, strategizing, turning despair into power. I whispered into the silence. This ends on my terms. He thinks he's in control, but the truth is mine now. The thrill of it coursed through me, fierce and intoxicating. For the first time in weeks, I felt alive, not as a victim, but as someone capable of taking back everything, and this was only the beginning. I watched from the corner of the room, keeping my distance, letting the scene unfold. Mark, smug and confident, walked into the networking event like he owned it. But tonight, something was off. You're late, his colleague snapped, frowning. We had to start without you. Mark's confident smile faltered for a split second. Traffic, he muttered, trying to regain control. I hid behind a pillar, pretending to check my phone, while savoring the subtle shift. Already the cracks are showing. Later, he attempted to charm the crowd with a story about a recent client win. Halfway through, a message popped up on his phone and he glanced at it, panic flickering in his eyes. Everything okay? A junior associate asked. Mark forced a laugh. Of course. Everything's fine. I leaned slightly toward Mia, who had accompanied me discreetly. Do you see that? I whispered. The moment he realized his career opportunity just slipped through his fingers. Mia nodded, I see. And he doesn't even know we're watching. By the end of the night, the first wave hit. I overheard whispers. Did you hear about the project he lost? Major clients pulled out. Mark's face tightened. I smiled faintly. Karma's moving, and I haven't even touched it yet. The next morning, I received a call from a mutual friend, Sarah, Mark's lover, the one I'd dreaded most. She was shaking. I can't do this anymore. It's too messy. Leave him? I prompted softly, letting the words linger. Yes. I can't live like this. I can't lie anymore. He's not the man I thought he was. I whispered to myself, good. Finally, the lies unravel. Later that week, at a casual dinner with Mark's colleagues, I stayed nearby, pretending to sip my drink while observing. He laughed too loudly, boasting about a deal he thought he'd secured, only to be corrected by a senior executive. Actually, Mark, the numbers were off. You missed the margin by a significant percentage. He froze, color draining from his face. That's impossible. Double-check the figures, the executive said flatly. I couldn't help but let a small smile tug at my lips. This is what happens when you underestimate everyone around you. He thought I'd forgive, that I'd crumble, and now? Look at him. Later, in a quieter moment, he found me at the edge of the event. How are you here? His voice was sharp, defensive. Why wouldn't I be? I asked lightly, keeping my expression calm. It's a public event. I thought I'd see how you're handling things. You're smiling. I shrugged nonchalantly. It's just interesting to watch reality catch up. Mark's eyes narrowed. You're not the same person you were. You're dangerous, I laughed softly. Dangerous? No, I'm cautious, strategic. You've had plenty of time to see what I'm capable of. Maybe now you finally understand. He looked away, muttering something under his breath, frustration bubbling through every gesture. For the first time, he didn't command the room. The room dictated him. Later, Mia whispered to me, he's cracking. You can see it in the way he reacts. Keep your eyes open. Every misstep matters. I said quietly. Every little stumble, every mistake. It's like watching dominoes fall. And I didn't push a single one. I'm just here to observe. The following week, Mark's friends began drifting away. One by one, messages stopped coming. Calls went unanswered. He tried to maintain charm in public, but I noticed the subtle roll of eyes, the polite distance. Even casual invitations dwindled. One evening, I saw him arguing with a minor ally, a colleague he'd relied on heavily. You promised support. I can't, this is not what we agreed. I'm sorry, Mark, the colleague said firmly. I can't keep covering for you. Too many mistakes. Too much risk. Mark's face flushed crimson, his usual arrogance gone. I sipped my drink quietly, letting the moment linger. This is what happens when lies unravel naturally. I don't even need to intervene. It's beautiful. By the time the week ended, even Mark's closest confidants were hesitant to be around him. The charm he relied on had worn thin. His arrogance was met with caution or outright dismissal. He no longer held power in social or professional circles. I caught his gaze across a small gathering one evening, and he looked vulnerable. No smirk, no casual confidence. Just someone realizing he had underestimated me and, worse, underestimated the consequences of his own actions. I leaned back, thinking, this is only the beginning. Every choice he made, every betrayal, every deceit, it's unraveling. And I'm watching, patiently, calmly, strategically. For the first time in months, I felt a strange, calm thrill, not of revenge yet, but of certainty. He had thought I'd collapse. He had thought I'd crumble. He had been wrong, and now, karma was catching up, one small domino at a time. I told him to meet me at our old apartment, the place that had once felt like home. Now it smelled like betrayal and broken promises. He arrived, suit pressed, hair perfect, a smile too confident for what was coming. Hey, he started, but I cut him off. Don't hey me, Mark. Not anymore. My voice was calm, controlled, but underneath, every word was a blade. He froze. I don't understand. Of course you don't. You never understood, did you? How much trust you shredded, how much of my life you spent lying through. I held up my phone. Every transaction, every drained account, every forged signature in my name. You thought I wouldn't notice. Mark's face went pale. It's not what it looks like. It's exactly what it looks like. I leaned closer, letting my fury simmer into sharp clarity. You think I wouldn't see the affair, the financial fraud, your manipulation of friends and colleagues. You thought I'd crumble. You thought I'd beg for forgiveness like some naive fool. But I didn't, and I won't. He swallowed hard, eyes darting. I didn't mean for it to go this far. I laughed bitterly. Didn't mean for it to go this far? Mark, every lie you told, every secret you kept, every smile while hiding Sarah from me, you meant every bit of it. Don't act like you're some innocent victim. Mark ran a hand through his hair, voice rising. You're overreacting. I thought you'd understand. Understand? Understand what? That you slept with someone I trusted, that you drained my accounts, that you thought you could ruin my life and walk away smiling? No, I won't understand. I won't forgive, and I won't sign anything until I decide the terms. Please, he said, desperation creeping in. Just sign the papers. Let's end this. Please, I can't. I can't take the stress anymore. I held up a folder, thick with evidence, screenshots, bank statements, messages, photographs. Do you see this? This is your life, Mark. Every deception, every betrayal, documented. And it's just the beginning. You thought I'd cry, beg, lose myself? I've taken control, legally and strategically, and now you have nothing. Not power, not credibility, not me. He staggered back slightly, disbelief etched across his face. I didn't think I'd forgive you blindly? I interrupted. Think I'd crumble? You underestimated me. Every choice you made, every attempt to control me. It's all backfired. I'm not the person you thought I was. And you? You're exactly where you belong. Powerless, exposed, humiliated by your own actions. He dropped into the armchair, head in his hands. I never meant for it to hurt you like this. I thought I loved you. I stepped closer, voice cold and deliberate. Love? Love doesn't steal, lie, cheat, and manipulate. What you did wasn't love. It was selfishness, and now you're learning what consequences look like. Mark's voice cracked. Please, I'll do anything. Just sign the papers. Let it end. I shook my head slowly. Signing papers isn't mercy, Mark. That's control. And you? You don't get control anymore. Not over me, not over my life, not over anyone I care about. Tears pooled in his eyes. I didn't think. I thought you thought wrong. And now you pay attention. Every friend who abandoned you, every opportunity that slipped away, every lie that caught up with you. That's reality. And reality is harsh, isn't it? He looked up at me, defeated, finally seeing me. Not the person he could manipulate, not the one who would cry on his knees, but the person I'd become. Unshakable, calculating, and empowered. I was arrogant, he admitted quietly, shame flooding his features. I thought I could handle everything, including you. I let the words sink in. Yes, you did. And look where it got you. Alone, exposed, broken, and all because you never respected me, never respected what I built, what I loved. He finally lowered his gaze, voice a whisper. I don't deserve forgiveness. I know that now. No, I said, calm, resolute. You don't, and that's why I won't sign yet. You wanted power, manipulation, deception. You have it now. Not because I gave it to you, but because you created it for yourself. I turned toward the window, letting the afternoon sun fall across the room. I'm done being a victim. I'm done being deceived. I'm done being controlled by fear, by heartbreak, by your choices. This ends on my terms. Mark sat silently, every ounce of arrogance drained, reduced to a man staring at the consequences of his own actions. I took a deep breath, feeling the surge of strength fill me. Remember this moment, Mark, not for your sake, but for mine. Because this This is when I took my life back. And nothing you do from here changes it. He looked up one last time, helpless, powerless, finally grasping the truth. And for the first time in months, I felt free. The divorce proceedings were tedious but necessary. Every signature, every legal form, every meeting with lawyers reminded me that control was mine. I no longer felt panic when Mark tried to argue or manipulate. I remained calm, composed, and resolute. Mia sat across from me at the coffee shop one afternoon, her eyes warm and steady. "You're handling this so well," she said, stirring her latte. I smiled faintly. "I have to. If I let him get under my skin, if I lose my composure, I lose everything. And I can't afford that. Not anymore." "You've come so far," she said, her voice soft but firm. "I remember when you were broken, spiraling. And now look at you. You're not just surviving, you're reclaiming everything." I laughed softly, though a little bitterly. It's strange. I don't feel like I'm winning, not really. But I feel balanced, in control. I'm not chasing revenge anymore. I'm just taking care of myself, Mia nodded. Exactly. That's the difference. Revenge is temporary, fleeting. Justice, careful justice, that lasts. Even as the papers were signed and finalized, I kept the mental list of what had happened. Mark's arrogance, Sarah's departure, friends who abandoned him, opportunities he lost. Every domino fell naturally, no dramatic confrontations necessary. It was satisfying in a quiet, almost meditative way. One afternoon, I received a call from my accountant, Luis. "All your finances are secure," he said. "Everything's in your name, properly documented, investments intact. You've rebuilt more than you lost," I exhaled, a weight lifting off my shoulders. "Thank you, Luis, seriously. I can't tell you how much peace this brings." "Peace, yes, but also power," he replied with a small chuckle. "You've created a foundation that can't be shaken." I smiled, letting the satisfaction settle in. It was strange, almost surreal, to feel calm after months of storm. No tears, no panic, just clarity. Later, I met with Mia again. "So what's next for you?" she asked, leaning back in her chair. I thought for a moment, tracing the rim of my coffee cup. "Next, I rebuild. My life, my friendships, my career. I don't want bitterness controlling me. I want lessons, boundaries, strength. I want to remember the pain without letting it define me." Mia reached across, squeezing my hand. "You're already doing that. Look at yourself, you're strong, resilient, and grounded. You've taken a tragedy and turned it into growth." I nodded, feeling a warmth in my chest. It's hard to believe that's possible sometimes. I thought I'd be angry forever, that the betrayal would haunt me endlessly. But I've learned patience, observation, strategy, and now, freedom. The thought of Mark still lingered occasionally. I knew he was isolated, abandoned by friends, regretting choices he couldn't undo. I didn't gloat. I didn't need to. Watching consequences unfold naturally was enough. "Have you heard from him?" Mia asked quietly. I shook my head. "No, and I don't expect to. He's dealing with his own life now. Alone. And maybe that's fair. He made his choices. I made mine, and mine are stronger." One evening, as I walked through the park, I reflected on the journey. The grief, the despair, the shock, all of it had been a crucible, refining me. I felt lighter, stronger, more aware of my worth. The betrayal hadn't destroyed me. It had taught me how to rise, how to assert control over my life without letting emotions dominate. I thought of Mia, my anchor. "I couldn't have done this without you," I whispered into the crisp evening air. "You reminded me of who I am, even when I couldn't see it myself." Her reply came later in a text. "Always. You were never truly alone, and you never will be." I smiled, reading it again and again. Loyalty, trust, friendship, these were my pillars now. Not Mark, not Sarah, not anyone who had deceived me. At home, I finally allowed myself a small ritual, a quiet moment in the living room, looking at the city lights outside. I sipped my wine and let my thoughts drift, reflecting on what I'd endured and what I'd gained. The divorce was complete. My finances were restored, my dignity intact, my mind clear. And yet, I felt something deeper, a quiet satisfaction, a sense that justice had been served, not through my own wrath, but through the natural course of consequences. Mark's mistakes had caught up to him. His arrogance, betrayal, and selfishness had left him in isolation, a shadow of the man he had been. And I didn't need to gloat. I simply thrived. I whispered into the night. I survived. I rose, I rebuilt. And no one, not betrayal, not deceit, not arrogance, can touch me again. Mia called that night. "How are you feeling?" "Alive," I said simply. "Calm, free, and ready to live again?" She laughed softly. "That's exactly how you should feel. Welcome back to your life." And for the first time in months, I allowed myself to truly believe it. I stood in the empty apartment, the lease freshly signed in my hand. The sunlight streamed through the windows, illuminating the space that would now be entirely mine, my sanctuary, free from shadows of betrayal and broken promises. Mia, standing beside me, smiled warmly. "Feels good, doesn't it?" I nodded, a small smile tugging at my lips. "It does. It feels like I'm reclaiming more than just walls and floors. This is my space, my life, my choices. You've earned it," she said softly. "After everything, you deserve this peace." I took a deep breath, letting it fill my lungs, letting it fill me with a sense of ownership over my own existence. "It's strange," I murmured. "I used to think life was about giving everything to the people you trust. And now I realize it's about knowing your worth and protecting it." Mia reached over, giving my hand a squeeze. "And you've done that beautifully. Look at you, stronger, wiser, and finally free." Later that evening, I found myself holding my old wedding ring. I turned it over in my fingers, feeling the weight of memory, of promises broken, of love lost and lessons learned. I set it down carefully on the kitchen counter. "This is it," I whispered to myself. No anger, no bitterness, just closure. I thought back to the months of devastation, betrayal, legal battles, and subtle triumphs. Mark's downfall had been as satisfying as it was inevitable. Career setbacks, abandoned friends, the loss of his lover, he'd faced the natural consequences of his actions. And I had watched, quietly, without losing myself to rage. Mia called that night. "How's it feeling?" I laughed softly, a sound lighter than I'd had in months. "Surreal. I feel like I've crossed a river of fire and come out on the other side. Stronger, calmer, more aware, and ready to live my life, truly live it. Good," she said. "And don't forget, it's okay to embrace happiness." "You've earned it." I sat back in the chair, reflecting. I had learned so much, not just about others, but about myself. I'd learned to trust cautiously, to value my own judgment over blind loyalty, and to recognize manipulation before it could take root. Emotional intelligence wasn't just a skill, it was survival. Weeks passed, and new opportunities emerged. A client at work, impressed by my resilience and professionalism, offered me a leadership role on a high-profile project. Friends, old and new, gravitated toward me, drawn by my calm confidence and the quiet assurance I carried now. One evening, I walked through a local art gallery, surrounded by strangers who didn't know my story. I overheard a woman comment on a painting. "It's so balanced, yet powerful. There's control in the chaos." I smiled faintly, thinking, yes, that's exactly what my life feels like now. Balance and power, tempered by lessons I'll never forget. Mia joined me later, examining the paintings with a thoughtful eye. "You've changed," she said softly. "I can see it in the way you move, the way you speak, the way you carry yourself. You're unshakable," I laughed quietly. "It's strange. I never imagined strength would feel this calm. I used to associate power with rage or control over others, but it's not. Power is quiet. Power is knowing who you are and never letting anyone diminish it." Later that night, alone in my apartment, I pulled out a photo of us from happier times, Mark and I, smiling at some forgotten wedding celebration. I stared at it, not with pain, not with longing, but with clarity. "You're part of my past now," I whispered. "I survived you. I learned from you, and I've left you behind. You no longer define me." I set the photo aside and poured a glass of wine, letting the quiet hum of the city fill the room. The apartment smelled faintly of fresh paint and sunlight, reminders that this was mine, completely mine. The next morning, I met with Luis, my accountant, to finalize financial accounts that had been rebuilt after Mark's deception. "You've done a remarkable job," he said, smiling. "Not just reclaiming your assets, but securing them for the future. You've transformed this crisis into a foundation for long-term stability." I nodded. "I had to. Not just for money, but for myself. I can't let anyone take that control again." He chuckled softly. "And you won't. You've learned well." As the days turned into weeks, I noticed subtle hints of Mark's continuing regret. Mutual acquaintances mentioned how isolated he'd become, how former friends refused to engage, and how his career had stalled. I didn't gloat, but the knowledge provided a quiet satisfaction. He had created his own consequences, and I had survived the storm, stronger than ever. One evening, I walked along the riverside with Mia, the city lights reflecting in the water like 1,000 tiny promises of new beginnings. "I feel complete," I said softly. "Not perfect, not healed entirely, but balanced. I know my limits, my worth, and I know how to protect both." Mia smiled, her eyes bright. "That's the most important thing. You've transformed. Not by revenge alone, but by learning, observing, and taking control of your life. That's true strength." I glanced at her, feeling a surge of gratitude. "I couldn't have done it without you. You were my anchor when I couldn't see the shore. And you are strong now," she said. "Strong enough to navigate any storm and strong enough to embrace joy without fear." I nodded, letting her words sink in. Joy without fear. The concept felt foreign yet thrilling. I had endured the worst and emerged intact, tempered but not broken, cautious yet free. That night, I stood by the window, watching the skyline. The city pulsed with life, indifferent to the pain and triumphs within its streets, yet full of possibility. I felt the weight of the past lifting, replaced by self-awareness, resilience, and quiet confidence. I whispered into the night. I survived. I transformed. I reclaimed my life. The past is behind me, and the future is mine. And in that moment, I realized empowerment wasn't loud. It wasn't about revenge, and it certainly wasn't about them. Empowerment was knowing my worth, embracing my strength, and living fully, on my terms. The apartment was silent, the city outside vibrant, and I finally smiled without hesitation, without restraint, knowing that this life, my life, was entirely, undeniably, mine. Have you ever turned heartbreak into strength?